G'day guys and gal, and I'm going to be bringing you tank gameplay as per usual. Now, before I get into the video, the content, and the occasional joke along the way, and asking what your beverage of choice is today, I want to tone it down a little bit and give it a little bit more serious. I do believe I feel like I should be giving an explanation why I haven't been uploading as much as usual. Yes, 2042 hasn't been my cup of tea, but I still enjoy the game for what it is, and I still do play it, just not as regularly as I would like to at the moment. I have been going through a transitional period where, long story short, I am now officially a personal trainer, along with finishing off my hours for my uni course, which is a degree in exercise sports science. And sadly, on top of this, I've had some unfortunate events recently where my father has been diagnosed with Lewy body dementia. So unfortunately, a lot of my time that I would have spare for gaming, I have had to put to the side to help my family in times of need and make the most of the time that I have left with my father. It's a little bit heavy for you guys to take this in, but I have been expecting this news for a month or so and been dealing with it as well, so I just figure I'll be honest with what's going on in my personal life, so it helps explain why the content is coming out a lot more slower than what I would like to, and just to let you guys know that haven't disappeared just yet. I plan to keep doing videos like this for a while and a long time, so I hope you guys understand. And before any of you guys ask if you guys can do anything, please, we don't need any money. We're financially fine as it is, so I don't want to see some crazy 1k, 2k donations coming out of nowhere through different means. The best way you can support me in this time is continue watching my content, leave a like, leave a comment of your favorite beverage, and sharing my content around. Because if that's what you really like and you like watching, then that's going to keep me going. Anyway, on that side note on top of this, I did have to go into isolation for 1 week with my girlfriend because my girlfriend caught COVID and I had to help her out. And also, I was considered a close contact, so I had to isolate for a month as well on top of that. So that wasn't planned. It got in a bit away of my training, and I've been doing for the last 6 weeks, as of the recording of this video, body transformation challenge with Anytime Fitness, where basically in the space of 6 weeks, I've almost actually dropped 12 kilos of weight, and I feel great. I feel fine. I did have, in the last week of my training so far, a little bit of a hit to my performance, but I've decided to rearrange my program so the intensity is a little bit lower so that I can keep on training. On top of this, if you guys didn't know, once upon a time, around about December, some guy dropped a grand donation to me through Silk on stream, which was the simple request that I do a stream sometime soon. I have not forgotten that, and I would like to give you some news on that around the end of April, early May, I've decided that I am going to do a birthday stream. I will probably be obviously playing 2042, but I might consider some other games on top of that as well, because we'll make it a birthday stream, so why not we play a couple of games? So you might even catch a game with me and my mates playing Golf with Friends, because that's one of our little side hustles where we like to have a little bit of banter and talk crap to each other. So who knows what I'll be doing on my birthday stream. So I want to make it worthwhile, because I'm not sure if I exactly can commit to a designated time for streaming at this point in time. So I might just do random streams here and there, and the best way to know when I'm going to do them will be following me on Twitter. So if you guys haven't followed me on Twitter, the link is always down in the description below and on the channel on the side. So I would highly recommend following that so that you can keep up to date with what I'm doing. Now, as in regards to what platform I'm going to stream on, I'm pretty 80% sure it's going to be on YouTube. I'm not ruling out Twitch just yet, but in regards to what I think of the Twitch platform, I do have a bit of a few issues with how ethical they are. So once again, best idea is to follow me on Twitter, and you get a better idea of when and where this is going to happen as well. I will post on the community section on my YouTube channel some information as well, if you don't really want to use Twitter at all. But either way, you have both options available for you. Some other things that I want to do as well is I do want to get around to setting up some form of Patreon as well as a Discord, but I want to set up a Patreon that has an incentive for it and something that you get out of it. So in regards to what that might be at this point in time, I haven't really decided yet. Maybe early access to some of my videos when I put them out, or maybe the fact that because I'm a personal trainer now and I will be an exercise sports scientist, maybe some advice on fitness and health, and maybe some nutritional help as well. I'm not an actual qualified nutritionist, but it's something that always people ask me, so I have to always follow the science, and I know how to research it a little bit, so I can give you some general tips and advice, but I would still recommend going seeing a nutritionist because that's what the actual job is. So who knows, maybe you guys have some great ideas below, and you can put them in the comment section of what would be worthwhile if someone subscribed to a Patreon, that what I could give back to you guys, because that's what I want to do. And it would be really awesome to actually finally get around to having a community Discord as well. It would definitely have, obviously, a fitness section because that's what my job is. But it would definitely have some gaming focus, obviously, in there as well, because that's Discord. So it'd be kind of a blend of between the both, I hope, and people enjoy it. Anyway, I'm going to start doing some commentary for this video and talking over the top of it. Now, if you guys probably haven't figured out already, this is actually the old version of Kaleidoscope Breakthrough. And it may not be really as relevant at the moment, but there might be some principles that still are relevant in regards to the new layout of the map as well. In Oceania, we don't have breakthrough servers anymore because that's how dead the game is. So hopefully this is worthwhile for people that are in Europe, maybe Asia, and obviously in NA and South America. So normally at the start of the game, I do like to work the tower side first. You can see that I worked at the edge of the road and kind of try to cut off the spawn points. And now I'm doing the same thing repeated on the other flag here. This side section over here gives you a little bit of leeway room to kind of like see what's going on without getting too much risk, but you can eventually wrap around the side here and basically get a big flank and really start choking the spawn points really hard, and it makes it just a lot more difficult for them to get on the flag to Kepa, because as soon as you start cutting off the line of spawns to the objective area, it's just a matter of time before your team gets onto the point and overwhelms them. So finding these flanks in the vehicles where you're sort of in a position where you have a bit of a fallback position but enough to go forward and cause some real damage and stem the stream flow of infantry. The reason why I say the flow of infantry, because there's so many people in this game mode, it's kind of like almost like turning on a tap. You have a tap of just constant supply of enemies coming into the flag to defend it. If you can cut that off or even strangle it enough so the flow of your own team onto the flag is greater than theirs, that makes a huge difference. Also, it is very hard, given I think honestly in Breakthrough it's somewhat slightly harder to get better games in this because it's so easy to direct C4 drones. I think it's a lot more harder in Conquest, so it's a little bit more satisfying playing Conquest, but already I think Conquest is the superior mode for tanking because it's much more challenging because you don't know where your threat's going to come from, despite how well you play. Now, some other things you need to consider as well is making sure, as I already pointed out before, always have an escape route. Now, you can see here I'm critiquing myself, and I will point out that I actually have made a little bit of an error there where I did present my backside, and there is backside damage values in this game, even though the damage values in this game are a little bit disappointing in regards to, I think, rewarding certain things like angling and etc. Now I've positioned myself with my team. I have a little bit more cover here, but I am still getting focused by the drones, and the only way you can really get rid of the drones at this point is having a teammate or someone keeping an eye out for them for you. In my opinion, now that I have played the game a little bit more, I do think the turtle launcher has its place, but I do feel like the machine gun turret does actually have a way better utility in regards to shooting down the drones. I still think they need to be nerfed. I think C4 on them should go. And the reason why I think that is it's too easy to get a kill reward for that. And to be honest, I don't think I've ever even seen a C4 Jeep in this game, because why bother C4 Jeeping when you can have the risk-free opposite by just doing it with a C4 drone? It completely removes that skill. I honestly think C4 Jeeping is actually a skill. I've seen some people in competitive do insane jihad Jeeps. So now you can see here, I want to get onto the other side here so I can focus on this angle. Going straight down and ahead here, in my opinion, is probably not the best way to approach this flag. It's a little bit harder to cut off their spawn, so what I've found through my own personal experience is going around back to where the opposite side of the map is. Even though you're not really actually pushing on the objective here, you can once again apply this stranglehold on the spawn points, which is what, in my opinion, I think if you're a vehicle player, at some points you will have to try and push onto the objective, because sometimes it just has to be done. You have to sacrifice your life to get the win, so to speak. I do find working this side of the map, you can cause a little bit more havoc. So you come up around the side of here, and you can see how all the infantry are trying to swim across and get into the flag. I do not know what the hell happened there, but yeah, I guess that's a thing that just happened then. As per usual, I'm doing these live commentaries as I go, unscripted, but you know my style, and this is how it is. So you can see here now, this is the angle that I'm talking about here. All our infantry is trying to get up over the hill here, but they're in a really good position to stop them from getting up any further. So what I'm doing here is focusing on those really strong positions that the defenders have, and I can really cut into them and cause some real damage and really help out my team here. Now, you got to be very careful and don't get too tunnel visioned on this side here, because I believe the next spawn point for them, they can actually climb up the tower and parachute down on you, which you eventually find out not only kills my tank once but twice, which the first time I'm actually managed to survive, and my mate decides to be kind enough to go grab another tank for me so I don't have to wait. Yeah, you can see there, this guy goes for me a couple of times and eventually does kill me, but he doesn't get me this time, and I get my mate to go get me a tank. So I whiffed a couple of shots here, pretty pathetic of me, and my mate saves the day. And yeah, I'm just going to cut out the footage of me waiting for the tank to come, because you're not here to watch that stuff. But hilariously enough that I actually die, spoiler alert, in the next couple of minutes here. So I go up again, once trying to work this angle. Now you can see our team's managed to take full capitalization on the work that I've worked on this side here. But there's that little position up there, it's a little bit more tricky to get those guys out of. So if you get the angle of the shell right and splash it off the wall, you'll be able to get those guys out in that angle there. But you can see here what I'm talking about. This little side angle, once you get all the way up in their face, it's really hard for them to do anything to stop you from pushing in. So the whole game on this is work the sides, cut the flow of the infantry to the flag, and you'll be able to help your team out. That's the best thing you can do, especially with a map like this where the B objective, you can't get really the tank inside there. There's no way for you to really help out the objective by actually getting it on the cap zone. Now, some other things you need to consider is this side of the map, it's a little bit more risque in regards to dealing with the aircraft. So if you don't have really good air cover, you are going to be pretty exposed here. So once again, that's why I would like to use the tow launcher. But once again, you could either run the machine gun on top, not the minigun. I think the minigun's a bit, but you got those two options for you. Also, I do believe now that the canister on the tank with the current update is really, really good at taking out choppers. So if you have a not a little bird, but a night bird strafing you with the AMG's rockets on them, that will be able to help you out a lot dealing with that. So do remember that. And yeah, as I said, yeah. So this is what you got to worry about. Sundancers will be probably your biggest threat on this map, especially if they're running C4 and they use the EMP nade on you, because you won't be able to do anything back to them besides run. Now we're back in the tank again after that first death, and this is not probably the most optimal play for that tank there. I believe probably a better position is working the angle where I am and challenging me would be a really good thing for him to do if he was on the opposite side, or maybe work the other side of the map. I haven't done too many times playing defense on this map, unfortunately. If anything, I think I've only have one experience that I remember, which I think I had a game where I was like 106 for 1, and I was actually completely inside the B flag area using one of the ramps in there, just going absolute ham, and I actually had 2 guys repping me. It was pretty nuts, and I just stood there and took endless amounts of damage, and guys just throwing themselves at me. And then I got a little cocky, and I tried to get greedy, and I tried to go over the top of the corner of the stairs, and I just got C4'd. So do play a little bit cautious and know when and where to position yourself. Anyway, on to the game at hand. You do have to consider these bridges very carefully, because you can see here, I almost have a panic attack, because as you can see, I almost fell into the water. So if you're going to cross these bridges, make sure you go all the way over and don't really sit on them for too long, because you're going to have people probably trolling you or just clicking and interacting with them so that they can move them around. Now, we've managed to get the B objective here and push a bit of pressure, not as much as we did before, but we're kind of just mopping up this position here now so that they don't have anyone to kind of really come back in and challenge their objective here. And now this is the most difficult part of the map, and it's not because it's actually difficult for the tank, it's the fact that there is one objective now that you cannot do anything in the tank. So you might as well either kill yourself or just sit at the bottom and wait for when they do eventually lose the top flag, and you make sure that anyone that's spawning in below cannot get to the other objective and start to recontest for it. Now, this part here, what you should be doing is making sure you don't get guys dropping on top of you, while at the same time positioning yourself roughly a little bit with your team so that if anyone does parachute above you, they just get spotted out like day and night, and they just get shot down by your infantrymen. And also, probably, once again, would recommend the machine gun on more vertical maps, and especially if you have some better cover to work with. Now, in this last section here, I do believe there's an underground tunnel that you can fall back into, but you need to have some kind of like map control so that you don't end up in a really crappy position. But in there, the aircraft can't get you, and you don't have anything to really worry about. Now, I think I just stay here for a little bit, because you can see here I'm a little bit flustered and trying to be polite as possible that I can have my gunner back. I think he does actually get out, but my gunner had left and missed the opportunity. But yeah, there's still a spot for him in the vehicle now. Each slot has its use and abilities. Now we're going to push on to the objective area here, but we do see a wildcat to our left. He seems to be not too much of a threat, so I'm focused on him, taking him out. But in the space of that time, once again, the verticality of this map, guys are just going to parachute on the top of you and just catch you completely off guard before you can even really do anything. So once again, you need to be keeping your wits upon you at all times, making sure that they don't get that drop on you. Now, all I can really do here is, now that we have this bottom objective, is just circle around over and over and over and over until something happens and eventually we do get the top flag. There is nothing you can do below here besides from sitting outside that uncap and just killing anyone that decides to spawn out from that angle. You can also clear out this little area down here, which is one of the access routes to the roof here. Otherwise, there's not much you can really else do, but rinse and repeat this until something happens at the top here. Now, since there's not much that happens here for the next couple of minutes, I'm going to go and take a chance to talk about some of my future videos that I will be like to be doing. Now, I've cleared out my hard drive of my Battlefield 4 footage, and I've managed to put together my last 2 remaining competitive videos, which is all just going to be raw clips, so you don't have me talking over the top of them, so you can kind of like a raw essence of how competitive sounds like and feels like, so that will be somewhat enjoyable. I do have some full round games, both being practice scrims as well as official games, which I will eventually upload over time. I do have some leftover footage of Battlefield 4 infantry gameplay, which I'll put up, but I've yet to decide if it's going to be me talking about what I liked about Battlefield 4 or if it's just going to be just some raw gameplay. I honestly want to talk over it and give some value to it, because you can just jump into any YouTuber and just see a frag video, so I want to make it something worthwhile for you guys to do. Also, on top of that, I do have a video project in mind where I will talk to Tonk Too Strong, which is, if you guys don't know him already, highly recommend to follow his YouTube. I'm not sure if he's going to be really that active anymore, because 2042 was a complete utter disappointment to him, and I don't know, maybe we'll put together a video where we sit down and have a talk about what we liked about tanking and what we think DICE needs to do to make it a bit more challenging as well as rewardable, and have more depth to it and a skill ceiling as well. Also, Azura and me in the past have talked about doing a video together. I'm not sure if he's still keen on doing that, but I would love to go and give that a go, because honestly, I watched some of his videos in Battlefield 5 in regards to tanking, and he did always some really good statistical stuff, which I've always really admire. I like to be a bit of a nerd myself, but I'm, don't have the savvy to break down, go through game files and look at it, so I just jump in the game and do the damage values myself, so I always really admired how he does his videos. So who knows, maybe I could get all 3 of us together, and maybe we'll talk about what we liked about tanking in the last couple of titles and what we didn't like and what we think would be good for the next Battlefield title. So who knows. Anyway, you can see here we've finally taken over the objective, and you notice there was a lot more spawns going on and me having to deal with it. I honestly think for the first minute of this part here, I got really confused and I was just like, oh my god, what's going on? And then I realized we won the game, as you can see here. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this voiceover, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.